Alrighty, I think we are ready to go. Awesome. I see, okay, there's a ton of people in the chat right now. I love it. Thank you for those of you who joined a little bit early to share while you're here. I loved seeing the types of citizen science projects that you're already involved in. So you're ready for today. Cool. Okay, excellent. We'll move forward then. So while we're waiting for more people to arrive, we'd love it if you just gave yourself a little introduction in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen. So when we start in a second here, excuse me, in the meantime, go ahead and post your name and then where you're zooming in from. A couple of you already did. Oh, how did that happen? And then just to make sure you know how to use the chat feature. We're testing you. This is a super duper interactive event. And so in order to make sure, sorry, I'm trying to change the host. There we go. In order to make sure that we know how to use all the things, we'd like to just test to make sure we can. So go ahead and add in your info from the chat so we can make sure that works. Okay. Ron, can you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down? Whichever one is accurate. Excellent. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so there's a bunch of us in the chat now. I'm excited to see all these wonderful places too. We got India, lots of Indiana. Okay. Is that where a NASA location is?
Not that I know of.
Now that you know, okay, just a lot of Indiana friends for
It's a cool place.
I guess, yeah. Founder of SA Citizen Science Group and team member of Planet Patrol. Awesome, nice to have you here, Savan, I'm assuming.
Hey, Savan, thanks for coming.
Oh, right, okay, awesome. Thank goodness that was the right pronunciation. Emma and Eloise, awesome. Okay, it's so good to have you all here. I'm gonna go ahead and get us moving. Oh yeah, and then a quick reminder, I'll just do verbally. Make sure that you have your chat set to everyone, so you're chatting with everyone on the call instead of just the hosts and panelists. As much as we love hearing from you directly, this also helps us make sure that you are interacting with each other and not just us. Cool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So today is a big day. This is kind of a unique opportunity. We do these webinars once a week, but this is kind of a unique one because it's an introduction to our series, the Do NASA Science Live, that we're working with NASA for the next 2 years. So I'm going to do a little bit of description of that in a bit, but before we do all those things, we're going to do some introductions and getting to know who you are. We want to know who our attendees are so that we can learn about what you would like to see. We're going to do a quick overview of what citizen science is, what SciStarter is, and the goals of the NASA supported citizen science, which Mark will cover for us. And then we will talk about the 3 SciStarter friends, so myself, Roland, and Trevor. We're going to talk about a couple of the ways you can get started today with NASA science, citizen science projects. And then we'll talk about Do NASA Science Live and what that means and how we can hear from you all about what you'd like to see for the future. So lots to cover, so we're going to get rolling. If you have any questions about anything, you can drop it in the Q&A or the chat, which I can actually discuss in a moment here too. So just a quick little introduction for myself. My name is Emma Giles. I'm a program coordinator with SciStarter. I'm also a SciStarter fellow at my graduate school in Arizona State University. Roland, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. I'm Roland, tuning in from Lebanon. I'm Quality Assurance Coordinator with SciStarter, and I'll be posting the links today.
Excellent. And Trevor, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Trevor. I'm the content and program coordinator here at SciStarter, and I am happy to be here today for this amazing event.
Yeah, it's going to be very busy. And Mark, I do have your introduction later in the slideshow, but if you want to give a quick introduction, then we'll come back to it when we switch to your slides too.
Thanks, Emma. I'm Mark Kushner, and I'm the NASA Citizen Science Officer, and I'm so happy to see you all here.
Awesome. Yeah, we're so glad to have you here. Thanks for taking the time. Okay, so just basics. I mentioned it already, but just in case you weren't fully aware of what you have access to. So we have a chat and we have Q&A. and you'll be answering polls. So a lot of things to interact with today. And we want you to use it. We're taking notes because this is super important for understanding how we're going to move forward with this specific project set for the next 2 years. So we really do want to hear your thoughts. Excuse me. If you have any general questions about citizen science, SciStarter, particular projects, anything that you think might be worthwhile sharing with the whole group, feel free to drop it in the Q&A and we can answer it live. In the chat, feel free to answer with your experiences. We'll even tell you when to make a note about what to say in the chat. For example, our little SciStarter robot on the side here is asking, what is one thing that you love about NASA? So if you'd like to add in anything there as to what you appreciate about NASA, we'd love to hear it while we move forward. Mark, I'm actually in Arizona, so
Oh yeah. I was going to advertise our Arizona event. The Citizen Science Association meeting.
Yes. Is that May 22nd? Is that the one you're referring to?
That's like the whole week, right? That's the first day. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the Citizen Science Association conference. Yeah, I'll be there the whole time. You gonna be there?
Of course.
Awesome. We'll have to take we have t-shirts for our live guests so we can take a big picture with all of us. Whoever is at that conference will be fun. Excellent. Yeah, if anyone's in Arizona for the Citizen Science Association conference, it'll be a fun time for all of us. I'm excited. Okay, and there's so much going on in the chat. I'm gonna have to close it just because I'm getting distracted by how awesome everything is. Okay, so moving forward. So first things first, we want to just get started to getting to know who we're talking to. So have you ever participated in a citizen science project before? We want to know if you are people who have been involved in a lot of projects, or maybe you're a newbie, or maybe you're a project leader. So maybe you haven't done a lot of projects, or you've done a lot of them because you're working on creating your own. But just go ahead and add in your answer while we wait a moment. I think Zoom might have gone through an update because it looks different. Oh, never mind. I think it's because I'm not a host anymore. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Roland, I'm relying on you whenever it goes up to 80%. We're trying for 80% every time. Excellent. Awesome. Okay, so we've got 53% of you are yeses, 43% are nos, and 5% are maybes. Excellent. So a lot of you have, and a lot of you haven't. It's actually kind of surprising to see such an even-ish spread. All right, have you ever been to one of these events before? So not specific to NASA necessarily, but the SciStarter live events. So these are once a week on Tuesdays. And myself and Roland are usually the ones here, and Trevor hops in for every other or so. I don't know if there's a pattern. Can't track the pattern. But just a bunch of us that we talk about citizen science, particular projects and whatnot. Okay, a ton of you are no's. We're so welcome. We're so happy to have you here then. And hopefully we'll be able to bring you back for more. So the 24% of you who have been here before, you know the drill. So you've seen all these ones before and you might know what's coming next. We want to know what type of person you are. I did change this poll. So if you've been here before, please go ahead and add like multiple answers if you would like to. We've also added if you are an aspiring citizen scientist versus a seasoned citizen scientist. So maybe you've been super involved. So you can add in the fact that you are very used to doing citizen science and whatnot. I'll give you a couple seconds here. Opening the chat again to say hello. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, so this answer is also super helpful because we can kind of cater events later on to what makes most sense for you. Oh, wow, pretty even spread. So the majority or the biggest group of us is teachers, educators, troop leaders, and more. So that's excellent. We're happy to have you here. Aspiring citizen scientists, awesome. Seasoned is not very many. That's kind of surprising. I'm excited to have you all here. Okay, great. All right, cool. So this is a big one for participation. So I'm already asking another poll question. But for those of you who are seasoned or have done projects or are project leaders, how long have you actually been involved in citizen science? So is this something you've done for a while? Or is this something that is new to you? Let us know. I'm gonna wait a couple seconds. I feel like I should have the Jeopardy music in the background while we're waiting. But Couple more seconds. I don't know how close we are to 80%. Owen, hi, darling. Excellent. See someone clapping in the background. Oh, sure thing. Excellent. You want to close that poll? I don't know if we're excellent. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So a lot of us are pretty new or within the last 1 to 5 years. That's excellent. Okay, cool. All right. So now that we know a little bit more about you, yet again, we want to know more. So here's the idea for the future events. So when we start talking about what this whole NASA, Do NASA Science Live thing is going to be, because it takes place over a couple of years and we are going to be talking through quite a few events, we might be able to adjust it based on your location. So we want to know what parts of the world we're talking to today so we can make an effort to adjust for what that might mean for you, and make sure that it's acceptable times. Poor Roland over here is often at weird hours working because we're on Eastern time in the US, but he's over in Lebanon. So we make him show up at strange hours, which he's super gracious about. But also, if we can avoid that for some of our participants, that'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? Okay, a couple more seconds. If anyone later on, by the way, needs assistance with converting times from wherever you are, oh, cool, a ton of us from North America. That makes things easy. Okay. South America, Europe, and Asia as well. Awesome, cool. Later on, we will be asking about times that might work best. So if you have available to you a time zone converter, I have a link that I can share with you all as well, to make sure that you can participate in that without having to do all the math in your head. Awesome. Okay, cool. Also in the chat, if you wanted to add in what country you're in, would love to see that as well. I'm seeing a lot of Central America, Canada, USA. How close is Tempe, Arizona to Phoenix? Well, I go to school in Tempe. I live in Phoenix. It's like 30 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on traffic. Brazil, Mexico, Poland, India. Okay, excellent. Feel free to keep adding in that information as well so we can get all of us counted on that. Awesome. Okay, now that we're done with all the polls for a minute here, we're taking a break. So we know a little bit more about you all. Let's tell you a little bit about why we're here. So we're here because of citizen science. Citizen science is, by our definition, is a collaboration between scientists and those of us who are curious, concerned and motivated to make a difference. It's one way people or anyone in the world can make an impact on issues they care about and help science. So you might also be familiar with terms like community science or neighborhood science. A lot of them are just synonymous words for citizen science, and it just kind of depends. Our use of citizen science is particular because it is the one that is most well known, and it helps us do a catch-all. So based on that definition, we have some advice for you on what to do moving forward as someone who's either new to citizen science or you've done it for a little while, but you just haven't gotten kind of the deep dive. So myself, Roland, and Trevor all work with SciStarter, which is a globally acclaimed online citizen science hub. So we have essentially a giant database where we funnel through all these projects. So if you haven't already, signing up for SciStarter.org as an account holder will help you a whole ton because you can track your projects. You can take a look at all the resources we have where you can get badges for training and such, which I could talk about in a second here. And it just allows you to really take the most advantage of all the resources we have, because being a database is not the only thing we do. We do a lot more to support projects and to make sure that you're taken care of as a user. So that would be the first step if you want to get super duper involved. And just to give you a good idea of projects. So these are actually new projects and events published on SciStarter. So if you'll see off to the left-hand side, you can see how many, just simply how many. And when we went through COVID, you saw a decline, but fun fact, a lot of that, even if we had a decline in projects, we actually had a lot more events where we connected a lot of people online. So we're really excited to keep moving and see that growth return to what we saw before, but even with the current numbers of events and just keep growing in that regard. So we're hoping that you can help make that happen. As a SciStarter account holder or a citizen scientist in general, you are able to use SciStarter's website in order to track your your contribution. So if you see any sentence or a symbol that's SciStarter affiliate, that essentially means that we have a special relationship with digital tools that allow us to acknowledge your efforts. So every time you sign up for a project, you can see what contributions you've done. Every time I work on Globe Observer, for example, through that app, I get notified on my dashboard. I contributed to Globe Clouds, which is always very exciting to see. Makes me feel good. Also, we have a ton of trainings for you. So if you're new to citizen science or you're just looking to get a better leg up or confidence in working citizen science, we have a Foundations of Citizen Science training, which is the prerequisite to see the rest of them, which I will scooch to now. But all of these trainings allow you to earn a digital badge that's personalized to you. So I have mine on my LinkedIn, and I think it's really cool to be able to say, like, I have these very particular skills or specific skills that I can list as my professional in my professional development locations. You can also put in social media, kind of throw it out there, because be excited about how much contributions you have in citizen science. Okay, excuse me. So we're going to switch gears a little bit to NASA citizen science, and I'm going to have Mark take over in a second here. But just so you're aware, and we'll cover this link as well, Roland's going to drop into the chat the science.nasa.gov/citizen science. If you're looking for all of the NASA supported citizen science projects, you can find them all at this link, and they're open to everyone in the world, not limited to the US citizens or residents at all. So if you are wanting to glance through that as we move through, or if you want to look at it later, you feel free to. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mark. Let me know when you would like next slides. And thank you. Cool.
Thank you, Emma. That was fantabulous. Fantastic. I'm so happy to see everybody here. Folks who are new, folks who are experienced, thanks for coming. So I'm Mark Kushner. I'm the Citizen Science Officer, NASA Science Mission Directorate. And I started out as an astrophysicist. I experimented with starting a citizen science project back in 2011. It was called Disk Detective, and I was addicted. It was just too awesome working with all the passionate and brilliant volunteers. And I just decided this is how I like to do my science. So now I get it's a privilege that my job is to create opportunities for scientists to work with volunteers and for volunteers to work with scientists. And we think this is the next big thing, and it's how I like to do my science. All right, next slide. Thanks, Emma. NASA's volunteers have discovered most of the known comets, and there are no qualifiers to that. It's not like most of the red comets, not most of the blue comets, not most of the slow comets, most of the fast comets. It's most of the known comets. They've discovered every single sample of interstellar material. Hundreds of thousands of emperor penguin nests, thousands of brown dwarfs, thousands of candidate near-Earth asteroids, hundreds of exoplanets, the star-forming regions called yellow balls, the Peter Pan disk phenomenon, 7 meteorites, and a new kind of auroral phenomenon named Steve. Next slide. And that's just the beginning. That's all I could fit onto this slide. It goes on. Next slide, please.
I just have a quick question, Mark, before you move on. You mentioned different colors of comets, like the blue comets, or is that actually like the difference between those, or is that just commentary on how they're not?
That was mostly commentary on.
Oh, okay. I had never heard that before. So if there are different colored comets, I wanted to know more.
Well, I mean, often, you'll see a headline, which is like, scientists have discovered the first blah blah to be blah blah in the blah blah that has blah 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 and blah blah blah. And
Sure.
after the time you put all the qualifiers on it, it's hard to figure out what it was all about. But this time, there's no qualifiers whatsoever. It's just cleaning up is what it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So with all those discoveries, as you might imagine, hundreds of NASA citizen scientists have become named co-authors on refereed published papers. And that just makes me super proud. And we do our best to keep a catalog of all those on our website, which you can see in that image there. And a bunch of those stars are on this call right now, by the way. Next slide. Jonathan Holden, who I saw in chat, is in one of those papers. Sylvan, are you in one yet? Probably should be. Oh yeah, there you go.
Proud as co-author. Nice.
Yeah. NASA citizen science projects save lives. So here are two fun ones. Landslide reporter. If you see or hear about a landslide, you add it to this database that landslide researchers around the world are using to help model and forecast landslides. And globe mosquito habitat mapper. Well, you know all kinds of awful diseases that are borne by mosquitoes. So the idea is to track where mosquitoes are living and breeding, and figure out how to reduce the spread of mosquito-borne diseases like, say, malaria and Zika, right? So that's a really cool project. And you can do that, you might not have a landslide, cross your fingers, in your own backyard, but pretty likely you have some mosquitoes somewhere in your neighborhood, and you can contribute to this project and help improve, help save lives. Next slide. At least 13 of our citizen science projects involve regular meetings between scientists and volunteers. So if you want an opportunity to make friends with scientists and other people who love scientists, this is a cool way to do it. There's a list of those projects, the growing list. I know some of you I recognize you from some folks on the call who've been at these calls, and you know how much fun it is. So participants get involved in side projects. This is often how volunteers end up co-authoring papers. Often volunteers tell the scientists that they're nuts and that they should really be looking into something else. Anyway, some of these regular calls have led to lasting friendships and long-term relationships, and just magic happens when you get involved in one of these. So oh yeah, Stardust at Home was one of the first projects that I was aware of. It's one of the oldest NASA projects, and it's one of the first to do these regular video cons. Next slide. You can find all of our 34 active citizen science projects at science.nasa.gov/citizenscience. And we are constantly repairing, renewing that website. So come back and check often. We're just added a new project, solar active region spotters, a week or two ago. So there's always something new going on there. Next slide.
Excellent. The group of us, Ron, Trevor, and I came up with 3 of our projects that are already SciStarter affiliates. So on the SciStarter site and the NASA site that we participate in more often are the ones that we know that are kind of our go-tos. So if anyone is looking at any of these projects saying, whoa, too many options, what do I do? We have your back. We will go through a quick description of a couple of them just so you have a good idea of what these are about. And Mark, anytime that we say anything from now on about these projects and also the events moving forward, feel free to add in your thoughts on all these things. So just let me know when. Roland, would you like to chat about this one briefly?
Yeah, so this new project, Solar Active Region Spotter, is one of those seemingly intimidating projects, but then when you take the very detailed tutorial, you start learning more and more. We are shown images of magnetic fields on the sun, and we're supposed to compare different images over different rotations and to find these artifacts that are called prominences. It's a real interesting project.
I love how these images too just look so pretty. I don't know. There's just like there's something about these images across all these projects that they all look just so different, but they're just gorgeous. So absolutely. Even if you're just trying to look at some pretty pictures, sometimes I just look up NASA projects just for that fact. Excellent. Anything to add about this one, Mark, or did Ron cover the basics?
Oh no, this is it's a really cool project. And our newest one. So come try it out. And oh wait, did you mention that Emily got her start in science as a citizen scientist? Before
Sorry, go ahead.
Before Emily was a scientist, she was a citizen scientist. That's how she got her start.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up her bio. So Emily is the PI of this project.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, you hear that, everyone in the chat or in the call? If you're looking for a pipeline to become a scientist, this is certainly one. Excellent. And then we're going to go through Backyard Worlds, Planet 9. Trevor, go for it.
This is there's so many awesome NASA supported science projects out there, but this is one of my personal favorites. In this project, you're asked to help scientists distinguish between real celestial objects and distinguish them from image artifacts. So it's really cool. You're looking at data from NASA's Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer mission. And it's a really simple project that you can do from your computer, or even from your phone. You're basically just looking at flip books of images to find different objects of interest called dipoles or movers. And one of the really interesting parts about this, and what really keeps me going with this project, is the potential to find the sun's hypothesized 9th planet. So it's a really fun, really interesting, really easy project to participate in. So.
And Mark just added, this project has discovered most of the ultra cool brown dwarfs. Yeah, that's awesome. This is one of the ones we have the video for on the site too, an introduction on it. And I remember watching it and being like, wait, what? This is how far reaching citizen science goes? Like we can do all these things. It's just, yeah, always brings hope. Always brings excitement. And the first extreme T subdwarfs. Exactly. I have no idea what that is. Did you want to describe that?
Oh yeah, so these are ultra metal. They're both ultra cool and metal poor. So metal poor means that they were formed at a time when there hadn't been very many cycles of star formation, which star formation makes the metals in the universe. In other words, they're super old. They're probably among the oldest objects in the galaxy, and our volunteers found them.
Wow, incredible! Space is so cool. Okay, I'm going to take us back down to Earth really fast. So Mark actually already mentioned this one, but the Globe Observer app, he mentioned the mosquito habitat mapper. I've yet to try a mosquito habitat mapper, but I haven't been around mosquitoes in the last, since I've started working with SciStarter. So now that I am very involved, of course, now I can actually try it out when we hit the summer here in Arizona. We get too many of them. But I actually do clouds and trees fairly often. So I added some information on the clouds app. So for anyone, and I noticed a couple of people had added it into the chat that they were starting on this one. This one is one of those projects that is, in my opinion, very easy to do as a beginner too, to just kind of dip your toes in a very guided way. So there's a couple of things that I screenshot here for you to see. So for the clouds one, I didn't screenshot this bit, but you can do a guided understanding of how to do how to define what clouds you're seeing and how much and et cetera. And that guided thing, I do the guided version pretty much every single time. And then with trees, it guides you through the process of measuring them as well. So I find that super helpful because sometimes it can be a bummer to think you want to involve yourself in a project and then you're like, oh, wait, I don't know how to answer these questions. So it's definitely very helpful. I also added in the little section here on settings because this is how you connect it to SciStarter. So if anyone was already engaged in this one, it's really easy to authorize your account to be connected to your SciStarter dashboard, so you can get the contribution data as well. So I just want to show off what that looks like on here. And then there's also opt-in, opt-out settings that I find super helpful. You can receive NASA satellite images, which always makes me very excited. And you can also, there's a spot where you can ask for notifications about satellite data. So I get a message on my watch or on my phone during a certain part of the day. Actually, I got one 16 minutes ago, and I will tell you exactly what it says. Oh no, I got rid of the notification. It's likely telling me that a satellite is going over in the next 15 minutes, so I can go outside and do the project. So I'm going to miss this one, unfortunately, but that's okay. But I found that really fun because it really is about engaging you in different ways that make it more exciting. It's also like a forceful break. So if you live a busy life and you just want to have something that reminds you of like, oh, take a break, go outside. I really enjoy having those satellite notifications, so I know when to take my 15-minute break to just head outside and enjoy the sky for a moment, assuming it's not raining. Thanks, Trevor. Globe Observer is also having a temporary tool for the upcoming eclipse. Yes, yeah, for the eclipses, there will be an eclipse tool. So it'll be clouds, mosquito, land cover, trees, and eclipse, or eclipses. I don't know. Will it be both, or will it be plural? I don't know. But you can also look into it. Roland just dropped a link in the chat as well. Excellent. Okay, cool. Anything to add about Globe?
I think you guys covered it. I mean,
Cool.
it's just so easy to get involved. You just pick up your phone and poof, you're helping out with science.
Every event I go to, I always have this one open ready. Okay, do you want to send something to NASA? Just to get that quick look over of what do you mean? It's very exciting. All right, so now we kind of want to hear from you again. So we're going to go deep into polls for a moment in a minute here. Not too intensely yet, but we want to know what you've taken part in NASA citizen science projects before. So do you have a go-to? Do you have a favorite? We want to know. Go ahead and drop them in the chat. This will also help us for shaping the virtual series, because if there are particularly popular ones, we can arrange for something in the future. Who knows? All this data is helpful. And I got radio silence in the chat. No favorites? I think a couple of you mentioned favorites earlier too. I saw some Disk Detective and etc. So while you're thinking through what your favorite ones are, I'm going to move us forward. If you haven't done a NASA one before, that's totally fine, Jennifer, along with anyone else. Now you have the resources to look into if you want to. So you can go to that NASA Citizen Science Projects website. Excuse me. Ooh, or you can look through SciStarter for those things, which I'll show you the website to look through the ones that are connected through SciStarter, which we also have a site for the Do NASA Science Live on SciStarter as well. I'm seeing Disk Detective, Backyard World, and Burst Chaser. I'm gonna have to check out Burst Chaser. That sounds awesome. Enrolled in a digital badging system through EDPC at Texas State. Sounds super cool.
First Chaser hasn't even had his public launch yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
which one?
It's coming soon.
This is the Burst one?
Burst Chaser.
Oh, Burst Chaser. Yeah. Got the inside look. Excellent. Okay. And become a beta tester apparently, and you can help now instead of waiting. Excellent. Okay. Feel free to keep sharing those in the chat if you'd like. Okay. So we're going to move forward. If you would like to learn more about the past projects that have been featured more specifically and the events that have gone on with NASA, we have a scistarter.org/NASA, super easy to follow URL link that'll send you to a page that I will show you in a little while here that allows you to see past events. So there are quite a few of them in there, and they're based on different topics. So if you're looking for one specific to educators, you can probably look on there for one that's more focused on educators. So all those projects on there are all those resources on there are still highly relevant. And all the projects are still active as well. So feel free to take a look over there, and I can show you that website when we get closer to the end. Okay, so now that we have a lot more information about NASA citizen science projects, we want to know what type of things you're interested in doing moving forward in your citizen science journey. So if you are involved already, or if you're interested in certain types of projects, we want to hear about it. And if you have a different answer than the ones that are on the screen, please tell us in the chat. We'd love to hear about it. So Do we like online or virtual events most? Do we like getting ourselves outdoors, things that can be done with the family, focused on exploring space, or plants and animals? That's one of those learning things I had to have when I joined the team here, is that I didn't realize that NASA works with plants and animals. hadn't thought about that before, so I'm really glad that that's that we make a focus on that. Focused on earth science, weather, and landslides. Help you connect with other citizen scientists and if you have other ideas as well. We'd love to hear it. Thanks for the heart reaction. Awesome. Okay, waiting a couple more seconds. Roland will decide when to close that poll for you. We have a whole ecology program and also biological sciences. Yeah, I just can't believe I never knew that. I feel like that's not, I love science. I'm not sure how I didn't think to look into that kind of stuff, but wait, whoa, I won NASA Space Apps Challenge Honduras. Nice, congratulations. That's awesome. All right, oh, we have a ton of responses. Okay, this is super awesome. Okay, this is awesome. So all these things sound super exciting and I'm happy about it. If you added other, the two of you who said other, feel free to drop it into the chat so we know what types of events you're interested in as well, and we'll keep track of those things. Right now you are participating in building this set of this series of events, so we are super happy to hear from you. Awesome. Okay, another request. What topics are you interested in learning about? So this can be more specific. So we don't have earthquakes on here, so maybe earthquakes is something you want to add in the chat if you'd like. But do you want to know about how to become a co-author of a scientific paper? Are you an amateur astronomy person, and so you want to learn more about astronomy and the James Webb Space Telescope? Would you like to study climate change? Citizen science in school, so if you want to do education focused ones, image processing, other planets, Mars. The first NASA citizen science project I did was the Mars Cloud Spotter. I played for like an hour immediately. Plants and animals, other. Excellent. Awesome, Lori. I'm so glad to hear it. First experience with SciStarter with our family. We're so excited. Yay. Yeah, we're happy to have you here. Geology. Yes, rocks. I think I mentioned this last week, but I'm still astounded by the fact of I didn't realize that geologists lick rocks actively, like that's a practice. And it just makes me so happy. Excellent. All right, are we waiting for a couple more, Roland? Let me know if you want to pause it. Okay. Ooh, okay, awesome. Super split up again. This is great. We've got quite a diverse group of interests here. Looks like our most popular is other planets, Mars, Jupiter, and beyond. Fair enough. I was wearing a Saturn necklace, so not anymore, but excellent. Okay, cool. We will keep those things in consideration. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what on earth we're here for in terms of the series I've been keep referring to. So I'm going to give you some basics as to why we're here for this, so you have more context on what you would like to see from us in the future. So in general, we are in a 2-year virtual series partnership with NASA, SciStarter and NASA, to be events supported by NASA and produced and hosted by SciStarter. So you'll likely see us again with NASA. And these events will be hosted on Zoom for the most part and streamed to Facebook, just like today. And we also share links to recordings, just like in our webinar every week. We would share recordings to YouTube so that you have all access to anything if you miss anything. This will take place from summer 2023 to spring 2025. So we have some time to get through all these virtual event series. So you can be excited for this for quite some time. I'm looking at the chat again because wish my son could carry on the sit side tradition in our family, but he needs more encouraging. Did he come to this to be convinced by how awesome everything is? Excellent. Oh gosh, the chat is so distracting. You guys are so cool. Okay, as the series details are confirmed, the way you can check in with this is to look at scistar.org/NASA-live, which we'll actually take a look at soon as well. So you'll have a good idea of what that looks like as well. Yeah, okay. Cool. All right, so we've done this before. So the new series is based on a pilot project. So we had NASA sit SciCon during May 21st and 22nd in 2021. So based off of that, that was originally hosted by the Citizen Science Association, which is what the conference will be in May that we discussed at the very start. SciStarter and sponsored by NASA. This first of a kind online event series allowed participants across the world to discover ways to help NASA do authentic research. So it came in with a big goal of let's just get everyone involved from everywhere. And it provided opportunities for NASA project scientists too. So this is not just about the citizen scientists getting involved, but rather about improving these projects and figuring out how to best build that relationship between the project scientists and the volunteers. Excellent. Okay, so in 2021, when we had this event, we had quite a few outcomes come from this. So I'm going to breeze through how awesome it was. But essentially, it was all about engaging and recruiting new participants. There was 40 to 32% involved for 2 years, 12% been involved for 3 years. We had a good spread of people being involved that had never really seen this before. So one of the biggest parts about having a big series like this is making sure that we open up the science, right? We're trying to get as many people involved as possible. And 60% said that connecting with NASA scientists and project leaders was the thing that excited them. So it's your opportunity to talk to the specific scientists. So this means you can ask the questions that you haven't had the chance to ask or that is not easily Googleable. This was one of the most smoothly run virtual conferences I have attended. Thank you for making it easy. That is some lovely feedback we got back in the day. And I wasn't there, so now I'm just kind of jealous looking through all these like the quotes I saw about how awesome it was in 2021. I'm like, okay, this year's going to be awesome, just so we can get the same type of community. We also had a lot of outcomes from our presenters. So all of those lovely individuals who shared their projects, we were able to give them insight into the volunteer experience. So they were able to learn a lot more and build these deeper connections with these citizen scientists. It's all about understanding each other, appreciating each other, and enhancing that experience as citizen scientists. In the survey for the presenters, about 71% agreed that they felt that by participating in the event, they learned some ways to improve their project. So again, this is about making sure that we can develop better projects as a whole. So even building that community could mean making projects even better, because now we can connect the dots between what the citizen scientists see versus what the project scientists adds to the project. So as a presenter, someone mentioned that it allowed this person to connect with educators and their students about the active NASA citizen science projects that have curricular materials. So this is especially important if any of you are educators or troop leaders out there. There's a lot of resources to get get volunteers involved that make things even easier. And so by sharing feedback about how well this is going, it allows us to improve those resources as well. Biggest takeaway for this person was the amazing discoveries that are happening with the help of citizen scientists. So you all are so important. We simply cannot do what we do without citizen scientists, which is such a lovely sentiment. Okay, and my punny statement, what you can look forward to based on our stellar feedback from a couple of years ago. So this year, or these couple of years for this series, we're going to be talking about how to improve these projects. And so other than having your input after in a couple seconds here when we work on a couple more polls, we want to make sure that the feedback from previous years is taken into account. And one of those feedback points was that we want to give more time to the project leaders to actually discuss the projects, because that seems to be a really excellent way to understand the projects on a deeper level, as opposed to showing a ton of projects and doing like a big round robin of a bunch of projects that you can't really choose from. We'll give you fewer choices. We want to give more informal discussion time with volunteers, which means we might change the format of certain events. So even though it's online as a Zoom event, we might make them, excuse me, we might make them concurrent sessions. So maybe you meet to discuss how to participate, and then the following week you meet with the scientists to learn about what happens because of your volunteering. We will also be working on building partnerships for regional and local organizations that represent underrepresented groups. A big part of a lot of our organizational methods of developing new things, especially for SciStarter, like the library kit program, it's all about finding different demographics and getting everyone involved. So we want to make sure that we are doing that co-design process and talking to more communities than what is the average or general group that we hear from. So we're excited for that as well. Cool. Okay, so we've gone through a lot. I wanted to give y'all an opportunity to look at the NASA-Live page, which actually Roland just built. So he's our superstar designer of this site. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my share for a moment so I can switch, and just so I can see. Yeah, Jessica. Yes, excellent, absolutely. Cool. Okay. As I mentioned, or I talked to random chat moments. Okay. Oops. So if you were to go, you can go on your own as well to that SciStarter page. So scistarter.org/NASA-live will send you to a lovely new page that I will share with you. If I could find the Zoom, there we are. Okay. So when you're on this site, I'm going to give you a good brief tour here. So there's a lot happening on the site, and Roland, feel free to drop in anytime since you did the build. So if there's something I missed, please go ahead and drop in. So the idea is that we want to get easy access to resources to get involved and understand all the different events that happen over the next couple of years. So we have a description here to help you out. As a reminder, it's a virtual event series to help you learn about and participate in NASA supported research that needs your help. It'll take place from June, so summer of 2023 to spring of 2025. And you can find the projects and events scheduled below. So eventually, once these are scheduled, based on your excellent information that you give us today, we will have access to all those things. So you can watch the past events from 2021. You can explore the featured projects that are from NASA brought onto the SciStarter site, and then you can learn about what on earth we're doing here. So it's essentially a one-stop shop where I heard about this thing, I want to know what to do. And so you can go online to see those things. And there will be more as time moves forward and we start having more events or having these events happen. You'll be able to see everything. If you're interested in learning what we have accomplished through these things, you can always look at our event evaluation report and see what we've done so far and what we're trying to do in the future. I'm going to go ahead and show you this side of things as well. I showed this a little while ago. I'm going to go ahead and log out so you don't have to see all those markings. So this is the NASA site on SciStarter. So this is not all of the projects. The URL that Mark had on his slides, and then I mentioned right before we switched over, has all of them on the nasa.gov. These are the ones that are on SciStarter so far, and they get added every once in a while and such. And a bunch of them are affiliates. So if you see the little marker in the corner, that means affiliates. So those are the ones that are tracked. So if you're looking to just kind of explore the differences between all the different types of events or types of projects, you can go on here. Love cloud spotting on Mars. And then at the very bottom, we have recordings of the SciStarter online events. So this is in 2021, the different types of events we had. You can look through and see which ones you might be most interested in. There were a couple for just how to get involved in these things, or different like topics like talking about telescopes and such. So if you're looking to learn about specific things or you don't know what to learn about yet, you can go on here and just kind of get an idea of like, oh, I will be able to learn about this and whatnot, and add that to your list of I don't know, to watch when you're bored, to watch when you're motivated, to get ready for the NASA SciStarter events. Do NASA Science Live. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to our screen. I'm going to leave it a second though, because I'm curious if we have any questions or anything. I know I'm moving kind of fast. And if we don't, then I'll just keep moving. Prepare yourself. There's a couple more polls. Thank you for being such superstars and answering them. Okay, cool. Anything to add on the projects, Mark, that I was showing?
I guess one thing I'd want to make sure to mention is that NASA's science projects, NASA citizen science projects are, they are reviewed with the same rigor as any NASA science project. So when you participate in one of these projects, we're guaranteeing in essence that you're not just doing something that is, it's not just made for, fun or learning. We love learning, but it's there because we really need you to accomplish really cutting edge, important science. We're very proud of the high quality of these projects and the crucial role that volunteers play in them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to think that this is like just engaging with science and learning for yourself, but this is, I mean, this is service. This is volunteering to really impact real projects. So yeah, thank you for making a point to say that.
I mean, as you were saying, people use the term citizen science in different ways. But at NASA, what we have in mind when we say citizen science, we really mean excellent NASA science that relies on volunteers.
Yeah. It makes you feel like super cool being involved in these too. Because it's really not too hard to just do any project, right? Okay, it looks like my screen share is not sharing correctly. So let's see. Oh, yeah, it's showing the wrong one. My bad. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, so once I get that working again, let's see. Let's try this. Okay, is it showing up the right one? Maybe. It is? Okay, thank you. Excellent. Okay, so there are quite a few things in the Q&A. So I'm going to bring these up as we finish up these last polls. So this is where we get very particular. So I know we're asking you kind of intense questions, assuming you're going to be the ones being at our events. But it does matter. We do want to know exactly like what you expect and what would be the most useful for you. Since you're here, we want you to feel like your thoughts are included here. So this is also based on, we use Eastern Standard Time. So thinking through where you are, just be aware, be aware of what you'd be adjusting to. And so it's helpful to, if you need a time scale converter, they're pretty easily Googleable. And I do have some of the questions. I'll go ahead and ask them so that Mark can think about it. I'm wondering if there are projects related to psychology of astronauts during space missions or simulated space experiences. That's so cool. I hope so in the future, if not now.
Growing Beyond Earth is probably the closest. That's one where we ask volunteers to grow different plants with the idea of picking out ones that will work well on the International Space Station.
Yeah, I think our friends in Florida, Broward County, have a high emphasis on this one. A bunch of them participate out of that school district, which is super exciting. So I know they love it and they keep coming back to it. Oh yeah, and thanks for sharing. My students have done Growing Beyond Earth for 2 years now. That's awesome. If anyone needed the time converter, by the way, here's a link to one. Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Monique, for that question. Jennifer, what is the GLOBE team? So what I think you mean by that is that Globe Observer app involves, oh, sorry, I got the poll in front of my face. Involves a couple of teams that talk through the different projects. Mark, do you want to elaborate on that?
Oh, sorry, I was paying attention to the chat and what was the question?
That's okay. The question was, what is the GLOBE team? So I'm assuming this is the Globe Observer team. Like, what are they, or how are they? How are they spread out? Like, they're spread out by the teams of the different modules, right? So clouds versus land cover, I would assume. And the others,
protocols.
the protocol.
There are a bunch of them, and there are new ones all the time. So let me pull up a complete list. So there's clouds. There's tree cover. There's clouds, land cover, trees, mosquito habitat mapper, and soon there'll be eclipse.
Yeah, so these scientists are split into these teams, or do they work across? I would assume they work across boundaries to a certain extent, right? They're all working with satellites.
They tend to use satellite data, but no, really, I'd say they're mostly independent teams working on separate science questions. But they all use that same platform of the Globe Observer app.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. There's been a couple of them to join us on live, by the way. Anyone who was asking about that question or curious. I think Roland actually dropped them in the chat already, but we did one with trees and we've done one with clouds. And they were both excellent. So highly recommend going back to watch those ones as well. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the next question. So here's where we get even more specific. Is there a certain period of time, all of this is in Eastern Standard Time, that works for you? That worked best for you? And then while we're doing that, we have questions also in the Q&A about co-authorship on scientific papers. How did those citizen scientists get added? Is that just participation in the project allowed them to be included in the paper, as in like citizen science volunteers, or are these individuals who just kind of went out of their way?
You know, every project has a different way that they work with their volunteers. I know through some projects, it happens on these video calls, where if you join the video call, then you find yourself, making unique contributions, and you started in a side project. Before you know it, your team has written a paper and you're part of it. The main thing is, if you want to do it, be proactive and reach out to the science team, and be patient. It takes a long time to write a paper. Plan on multiple years of activity before things get published.
Yeah, wow. I hadn't thought about I guess those meetups are probably pretty important to discuss like what's being found too. That's cool. Yeah, hopefully you're added into a scientific paper, my friend, Pradeep, and anyone else who's curious about the same thing. Learn as much as you can about the research the science team is doing. Yeah, that also helps. Thanks, Jonathan.
That would be a cool topic for a future live event.
Totally. I'm writing it down in my brain and it's recorded. So this is recorded, so we'll come back to it.
Yeah, we can ask some of the successful citizen scientists who have become authors to explain.
Yeah.
I bet for each one will have a different story, probably.
Absolutely. Okay, now I'm actually writing that down. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move us to the next one. Thank you all of you who are answering. Oh, okay, cool. 3 to 5 PM ET looks like a fan favorite, 60% of you. Awesome. Okay, cool. There was one more question in the Q&A as well, or at least commentary. I'm teaching computer programming in the university, and I'm searching for new things for my students. I'm curious, actually, Mark, do you know if anyone has used like just evaluating the programming behind a project to really understand computer programming? Like if that's a good way to do it? I know there's a anecdotal story about how Stardust at Home was the motivation or inspiration for creating stall catchers, which is a Cornell University project, not NASA related, it's medical science, but Pietro Michelucci is the creator, and he was inspired by Stardust at Home to create one that would work for medical science, and it worked. And it's a really great project. So that definitely impacted him on a computer science level. Anything else on that topic?
Well, Stardust at Home definitely inspired a lot of projects. I think it was the inspiration for Galaxy Zoo as well. It turned into Zooniverse. I'd love to hear any other stories that folks have along those lines.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I wonder how many citizen science like project creators are like, oh yeah, I totally used that. Like that was like the easiest, or not the easiest, but like this was such a genius idea. We had to use it in so many places. It's awesome. Excellent. Okay. Sorry, the chat is quite funny. Okay. Excellent. So we're at the top of the hour, just forewarning. We're running a little bit behind. If you're willing to stay on to answer a couple more polls, that would be super helpful. This most recent one, what format do you prefer, is a heavy duty one. So thank you for taking the time to read through these. We really appreciate it because this will help us design, of course, as I mentioned. So moving forward, there's just a couple more, and we actually are looking for chat answers more than anything. This one is important for any of you who are teachers, troop leaders, etc. we want to know what types of communities you want to engage. And we'd love to see ways in which we can engage with them. So if you have any particular groups that you work with, maybe you're a librarian in a certain area, maybe you work with retirees, maybe you work with specific ranges of students or do an outdoor school program or some form of extracurricular, or any random organization. Maybe you have a club that meets up to play chess and you want to add in some NASA. So let us know. Any answers you have, please write them in the chat. And if you don't have any answers, think about who you are and why you would want to be involved. So if you are a very specific group, or if you belong to a specific group that you want recognized, please drop that in the chat as well. Excellent. Programs manager at a science center, work with all ages. Awesome. Yeah. What type of science center? All kinds of sciences? Jennifer? Community health worker. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So Spanish related things. Oh, thanks for joining us, Robin. This will be recorded and sent to you, so you'll be able to watch the rest later. Excellent. Okay. Awesome. Go ahead and keep dropping those in the chat. I love hearing it. I'm just going to move us forward since we're low on time. So if a project scientist is not available for a specific event, would you be interested in an event moderated by an experienced volunteer? So some of our volunteers who've maybe been co-authored, maybe they've just gotten super involved and so they want to help make these things happen. Would that also be interesting to you, or do you prefer having the project scientist? I will mention that last one. I am an experienced volunteer. Please contact me. If you do want to answer that one as a yes, go ahead and drop a note in the chat of like, I am answering that last one. I'm an experienced volunteer, because then we can reach out to you about different opportunities that might come up. Homeschooling groups, age range of students. What kind of age range? Stephen, if you're looking at this still. Grandkids. Awesome. Multilingual. Yes. Oh, thanks for sharing that, Mark. Yeah, but lots of other ways to get involved in NASA. Here's a page with other links. Learners and learner opportunities. Awesome. Okay. All right. We can leave it on for a couple more seconds for the poll, but otherwise we'll close it up. So we can go to the next one. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, so even if the science or the project leader is not available, we'd still be interested. That's good to know. Okay, also, because we're talking to so many people who are involved in many things like being in a science center and whatnot, if you're interested in helping us promote events through your networks or focusing in on giving you those promotional tools to send out to your network, please let us know. You can use the chat to tell us who you are, and we can contact you via email as you registered. Oh, okay, I'm seeing paragraphs. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, such beautiful things. Well, thank you for the network offers here. FB pages, yeah, even your personal Facebook page or etc. Like, well, that would be super fun in the future. Just have a big group of people sending out those lovely promotional. Excellent. Okay, cool. I'm going to move us forward just so we can be on the end of this one. So depending on if you feel like your thoughts were heard and whatnot or not, I don't know. If you think of something later and you want to contact us, we do want to hear from you about these things so we can plan accordingly. You can email us at info@scistarter.org to indicate interest or how to promote or any particular groups you want to reach out to. All that stuff is super helpful. And we did have a Q&A open, so I'm going to actually skip over this one since we've kind of talked through the Q&A. But just so an FYI, as we're closing out, this is the weekly webinar. And so we do have a couple events coming up with April 11th and 18th and 25th. And we'd love to have all of you there for those ones as well. So if this was your first time with us, we'd love to hear you back or see you back at this one as well, at the next ones. They're not all going to be the Do NASA Science Live ones. This was the introduction, and those will be scheduled otherwise. We are in Citizen Science Month. It's April, so happy Citizen Science Month, everyone. If you're looking ways to get involved now and you just want to be like on top of it, this has been the motivator of your life, go ahead and go to citizensciencemonth.org, and you'll see quite a few resources to get involved. And as always, we have a million resources for you to use anyway. So you can always talk to our community, talk to project leaders, especially through the NASA's projects. And you can talk to us and find your next project or trainings, etc. And you can do all those things. Thank you to those of you who stayed past the hour to chat with us and talk through these things. It's helpful to see all those things or see what your thoughts are. We do have a very specific event survey for this one. So Roland's going to drop that in the chat for you. This is Citizen Science Month, so we want to know how we're doing this month in general and what the impact is for you. So if you wouldn't mind answering that survey, it would be amazing. So we can get some good data on how to better support you in the future. And that's about it. That's a lot of stuff we just covered. If there are any questions, we can chat through them. I'm gonna go ahead and stop my share. Okay, cool. So I've got quite a few of you in here too. Excellent. Thanks to all of you writing in the chat. Yeah, we're excited to get you involved too. Excellent. Okay. Well, if there aren't any questions left over, I'm going to look through the chat just in case. Thank you. Thanks, Tanya. Excellent. We would love to keep the conversations going. Thanks, Mark, for adding your Twitter here. Yeah, keep chatting. And we would love to hear more about what you would like. So if that comes up at any point, please send that. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and close out this event. Excellent. Cool. Yeah, thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. Or actually, I cannot. Roland, you're going to have to stop the recording. I keep forgetting I don't have permissions right now.